Hello, today we are continuing in section 4.5 on triangles, but we are going to talk about how to draw triangles. Last time we talked about classifying triangles, the kind of types of triangles that there are, um, whether we're classifying them based on the length of their sides or by the size of the angles. But like I said, today we're going to be drawing the triangles. We are in your textbook on page 162. It starts at the very bottom of the page, and so drawing triangles, we're going to need your straight edge, and we're also going to need your protractor. Give me just a moment. All right, so I've pulled up here on my screen a protractor, and I refer to this as a straight edge, but you probably know as a ruler, but we're just using it for the drawing straight lines. We're not gonna consider it for measurement necessarily. Let's see. So if we're given the right information, we can use it to make a triangle. All right. They can give us the angle, they could give us some sides, and then we could create the triangle. It says if the given information has either two sides and a single angle, or two angles and a single side, then it is necessary to know whether the single side or angle is included. So what they mean by included means that it is in between, okay? So let's make a little note for that when we're drawing triangles, included means in the middle. Okay. And I'll show you what that means here in a minute. And it could be an included side or an included angle. It just means that that piece is in between the other two. Let's look at the example here. Example 4.5b. Move my tools over a little bit until I need them. All right, and the instructions for this one says we want to make a triangle if we have a 25-degree angle and included 1-inch side and a 75-degree angle. All right, so when we're given this information, the first thing I want to start with is the side, that included side. Most of these you're gonna first start by measuring, if they give you a length of a side, I kind of start there. Now my ruler is not calibrated, because it's made for the screen, so it's bigger. But on your paper, you would make exactly 1 inch. Okay, I'm gonna make mine just a little bit bigger because 1 inch would be super small on the screen. So I'm gonna make it more like that. Okay, so we'll view that as 1 inch. Now it says we need a 25-degree angle. So I know that 25 degrees is on one end, 75 is on the other, because it said that the 1 inch is included, meaning it's in the middle. So I'm gonna put my vertex mark on one end, and this says 25 degrees. So I remember start wherever this line points. I'm not gonna go this way because I see the line is on that side. I'm gonna start with 0, 10, 20, 25, so I know it's right there. So I'll use either the side of my protractor as a straight edge, or you can get your ruler. I'm gonna use the ruler because it's gonna draw it better on the board for me. All right, that's probably much longer than I need, but that's okay. Next, 75 degrees, put the vertex mark there. And then from this direction, I'm gonna start with 0 and go to 75. So 60, 70, here's 75. And now, same thing, I could use the edge of my protractor to make that line, but I'm gonna use my ruler so that the line will be straight on the board. Now, I really don't need to make the line this long, alright? But you can see that we did make a triangle, okay? So again, I don't need this extra part. This is the part that I need. And then I would need to label it to show that this is a 25-degree angle. If I could write it in there, I would, but I can fit it. 75 degrees is right here. And this side is 1 inch, okay? So we just drew the triangle. They gave us the information. We were able to take it and draw it. We started with the 1 inch, and then we put 25 on one end and 75 on the other. Let's look at another example. Let's look at letter B. I'll move this out of the way. And let's see what information they give us this time. Letter B, it says that we have a 0.75 inch side. We have an included 45-degree angle and a 1.25 inch side. So this time we have an included angle. All right. I'm still going to start with one of these sides, okay? That's usually the best way to start is with the side. I could use the 0.75 inch or I could use the 1.25. I guess I'll start with the 0.75. Now I have to know that 0.75 means 3/4. So on your ruler, you'd be measuring 3/4 of an inch. Again, I'm just gonna draw something similar on the board because my board's gonna make it really much bigger than what it would be in real life. And then the included angle comes next. I know the angle is gonna be in between the two sides. So here's one side. Now let's make 45-degree angle on one of the ends. Since I chose this way, I've got 0, starting with 0 here. I'm gonna go to 45, which would be here. Okay, now I'm just using my straight edge just to mark where that angle would be. But now, because here's my 45-degree angle, it's right in here. Okay, I know this is my 0.75 inch side. I need this to be the 1.25, which I know 2.25 is a fourth. This is really 1 1/4 of an inch. I would then take my ruler, well, you'll take your ruler, and you'll measure it to be exactly 1 1/4 inch, and you'd mark it off. Okay, let's say it's right there. Okay, so if this is where it is, 1 1/4 inch, now I'm gonna draw from there and connect it to the last point there, and that will finish my triangle. All right, so now my triangle has a 0.75 inch side, a 45-degree included angle, and a 1.25 inch side. So during class, we will be working on drawing these types of triangles when they give us various types of information. All right. Some of these we can do and some we cannot do. If you look on page 164, I'm just going to read a couple of these and then we're going to put a little bit in your notes here. For example, if they wanted you to make an angle or a triangle that had more than 180 degrees. we know that it wouldn't work because we already talked about the sum of the angles in every triangle is supposed to be 180. So they have a little example there, and I'll go ahead and let you put that in your notes too. That if we had a triangle that they wanted us to draw that had like a 1-inch side, and then they wanted us to do like 80-degree angle on one side, if we did 80 degrees on one end, alright, line it up a little bit there. $80 on one side and 120 degrees on the other. Alright, so that would be this way. 120 would be here. When I go to draw these in, I notice a problem. This time, there's no way I can make a triangle because these two sides did not touch, okay? So, because the angles are too big, 120 degrees and 80 degrees are too big. So we'll see some of these in class today. Give me just a moment. All right, so we talked about this angle here and why these two angles would not make a full triangle, because we said that one of these was 120 degrees and the other one was 80. Well, if you add 120 and 80, you're gonna get a total of 200 degrees. And we know that a triangle can only have 180 degrees. You can also see that this angle is so wide that these two will never touch. I'd have to have a fourth side to connect it, which would make it a quadrilateral and not a triangle, okay? So now let's take a look, and I wanna put a couple notes for your notebook here about these types of angles. So this is how we'll know when a triangle cannot be formed. When a triangle cannot be formed. And it's similar to the one you saw me attempt to draw. They cannot be formed when we have one of these. Number one. Shh, excuse me, guys. Guys, I said no talking while I'm recording, okay? Number one, when the sum of the angles are more than 180 degrees. When the sum of the angles is more than 180. Like the one that I tried to draw just now had a total of 200 degrees, which was too much. It was more than 180. Second thing that can happen, when the sum of the two shorter given sides is less than or equal to the longest side. Please have a seat at your chair, please. Thank you. So if we're adding the lengths of the sides of our triangle and you find out that the two shorter sides are less than or equal to the longest side, then the triangle also won't work. And it would look kind of funny. You have like a side like this, and then a side like that, and then like that, where they're just not long enough, okay? So the two shorter sides have to be equal to or longer than the third side, is what that step says. So, a triangle cannot be formed when the sum of the two shorter sides is less than or equal to the longest side. So these are the two situations that you want to look out for, because in the lesson, they're going to have you drawing triangles. If you already notice that the angles that they want you to draw are going to equal more than 180, you can already stop and say that you can't draw that triangle. If you see that they're giving you the length of the sides and the two shorter sides are not even added together, would not even equal or is exactly equal to the longer side, you know it's not going to work. So you can save yourself a little trouble and already know that it wouldn't make a triangle. All right, so we will try some of these in class. See you soon.